A CNBC original podcast.
We all have to make big decisions in our lives, decisions that define and influence our professional and personal journeys. If you reflect on them, some are good and some I'm sure you'll definitely regret. In my nearly 3 decades as a financial journalist, I've interviewed literally thousands of CEOs, politicians and market voices, and they all had to make decisions to get to where they are today. In this podcast, I hear about those choices as well as the moments of doubt, risk and conviction that impacted our guests' journeys and the people they lead. This is Executive Decisions with me, Steve Sedgwick. In this episode, I speak to Estelle Brachlianoff.
So build solution, build ideas, build teams, rather than just complaining or waiting till the big schemes would be ready.
Estelle is the CEO of Veolia, a global leader in energy, waste and water management. She leads more than 200,000 employees across 56 countries, but her ambition to lead began at home, inspired by her mother and grandmother.
It's true that I come from a kind of genealogy of powerful women who break the barriers and the boundaries which were supposed to be put on them.
Channeling the strength of the women who came before her, Estelle continues to seize opportunities, be curious and trust her gut.
The guy has everything it takes, she'll be all right. My gut feel was telling me, not so sure. I should have trusted my gut feel on that one, which doesn't mean that gut feel is everything. But, there is an element of ticking boxes or rational is not always the way to make the right decision.
These are Estelle Brachlianoff's Executive Decisions. Estelle, it's so lovely to see you again, and I've been privileged to interview you several times, but I've never had the ability to have a long interview of you talking about your past as well. So I'm very excited about knowing what decisions you have made in your life and where you're at now. Let me start with a question. Why aren't you an astrophysicist or an astronaut? And I say that, of course, because that's what you wanted to be.
Yeah, that was my dream from a very, very young age, actually. And there is still a little bit in me of, fascination about all that. I still look at the stars with lots of pleasures. And why didn't I become that? Actually, it started with me being very young and opening this book that was offered with all formulas super complex about, astrophysics, Einstein and everything. I couldn't make anything out of it. And it ended up into the last year of my university where I finally understood what was written in this book, which I was given when I was 6 or 7. Astronauts, I wouldn't have the physical ability at all. That I'm certain. Astrophysicist, I've done a bit of astrophysics in my life. And research altogether, because I've done a bit of quantum physics as well. I loved it. But I'm more curious about people, curious about discovering new things than just going deep into something maybe. And the idea of spending 20, 30, 40 years studying the same very narrow subject with just 3 or 4 people you can discuss in the world almost, who can have really an interaction on this subject was really what prevented me from going into this type of career.
You come from an extraordinary background. I know that your mother was an engineer and she was at Aerospatiale and at Airbus as well. She was a forerunner for women everywhere. But you also tell me your grandmother was of a similar vein as well. So just tell me a little bit about the huge influence that your mother and your grandmother have had in your career now, in making your decisions.
Well, it's true that I come from a kind of genealogy of maybe powerful women who break the barriers and the boundaries which were supposed to be put on them. So there is a bit of freedom in those two. Actually, the grandmother I'm talking about is the mother of my father, and of course my mother. The two of them, they had the freedom. The don't impose anything on me. I'm doing exactly what I want and I really care about. For my grandmother, she was quite adventurous, if you say that in English, lady. In the 50s, she would travel to Afghanistan, trekking and experience and things like that. She ran a very free personal life. She had kids, but she didn't stay very long with my grandfather. at a time where it was not that common. She lived her life, in a way, in exactly the way she wanted. So nothing imposed on her. She didn't like that. And my mother was quite similar in that respect. She always said, Estelle, you do whatever you wish in life, but whatever you wish, don't have anybody imposing anything that you don't really want, and don't depend on anybody, including on a man. So be autonomous, earn your living so you can be free. That was the big theme, I guess.
That clearly has rubbed off on you from a very early age. They were your biggest influences?
Oh, probably, yes, in that there was something about you can do pretty much anything you want, as long as you have the will, as long as you work hard. There is the work ethics as well, which, I was given by my mother in particular. And you can do whatever you want. Doesn't mean to be only professional. I mean, if you want to be a mother of your kids and stay at home, that's perfectly all right. But you are the one choosing.
Did your mum have to make some big sacrifices to have that incredible career ultimately at Airbus?
I guess she was really a first of her kind because she studied aeronautics, she entered Airbus, and she was the first woman ever in the design center of Airbus at that time. We're in the 60s, early 70s. She dared wearing trousers instead of a skirt, which was like absolutely shocking. And all other anecdotes like that, which she was telling me when I was a kid.
The influence is there. You went to the École Polytechnique as well, and you carried on your education as well. And you moved into the workplace in, I think, 1998, working in Valois infrastructure projects as well. Mm-hmm. Did you start in your business career thinking you were going to stay in infrastructure and that kind of area? Or did you think in that stage, actually, it was a bridge to other jobs or other careers?
Oh, neither. I never had any idea of what was next. And honestly, each time I was given the impression that it was a clear, almost a bit too linear path, I walked away and said, no, I want to do something else. I ended up into a nice university, École Polytechnique, not having any idea about what I wanted to do, professionally speaking, and then enter into what was a civil service for infrastructure. And I thought that's great because it makes sense. So in a way, but I discovered it whilst I was
as
doing
you went
it.
Along.
Yes, as it went along, as opposed to an intention of any sort, if I'm honest. But there is the idea about I could have picked other routes. So each time I'm letting things flow and opportunities arise, and then okay, what about doing that? So I'm letting myself be surprised, but then I'm quick in seizing the opportunities as well, and never seeing it as a risk. More, we'll give it a go. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I'm going to do something else. That's more the mindset.
I love that. And it really tallies with what I try to tell my own children, that you don't have to create a career at an early stage. It will happen. Be curious. Be curious. And so this show is called Executive Decisions, but at that stage of your career, it's almost executive indecision. Just let it go. Just try different things. Is that important for you, that you were able to try different things and make decisions based on how you felt rather than some predetermined destiny?
I guess it's not only about, letting the flow go. There is an element of decide to seize the opportunity. You still have a decision, but it's not a decision as a path. It's a decision as in there is something here I'm excited about. Let's give it a go. But there has to be this excitement there. So follow your guts. And then if it doesn't work, that's not a big deal. I guess it's more this way around rather than just, letting things flow as they go. The flows go.
Your career started at around the same time that people got serious about greenhouse gases. They got serious about the environmental challenge. And I checked back. Kyoto and the commitments, the first real commitments, were roughly at the time when you entered the serious workplace as well. So look, you wanted to be an astronaut or an astrophysicist, and let's face it, they're quite racy careers. They're exciting careers as well. Whereas someone might say, oh, engineering, I'm not so sure. But the kind of field you went into, by coincidence, I guess, suddenly started getting really, really interesting and meaning something in the late 90s. Were you aware of that?
Yes and no. I guess the key things for me were curiosity and discovering new things. The gut feel about I'm going to get some excitement about it. There's going to be adventure. There's going to be something moving fast. And that's what made me join Veolia in the first place. And it has to have a meaning. We're here to earn a living, of course, but, we spend a lot of time in the day. And, to bring your little brick into something larger than you is something which is important for me. So I guess it's more the way I would phrase it.
That's something I really have noticed a lot with these executive decision interviews, that it's not just the job. It is not absolutely about the money. It is absolutely not about being the CEO. It is about meaning something and leaving some form of legacy or being something in a greater good. I look at a lot of commentary from you. I've interviewed you several times as well. Do you really feel that a lot of your decisions that you've made in your career are about trying to help the greater good rather than just help Estelle Brachlianoff's career?
The word is not exactly easy at times, and you can complain. You can complain about politicians, you can complain about, the economics, you can complain about many things. This is not my way. I'm more what can I do about it? And from a very early stage in my career, what can I do about it? So I seize the opportunity and try to make something. So build solution, build ideas, build teams, rather than just complaining or waiting till the big schemes would be ready. That's more action-oriented, which is my big driver from very, very early on. And in that respect, if you'll let the freedom with this mindset and the big framework, which I think, is exactly what Veolia is about. That's why I've enjoyed so much my 21 years in this company.
Yeah, I mean, you and I are rare beasts. People who, well, in many ways, you're very rare, but we've both done over 2 decades at the same company as well. That's a conscious decision, and I'm 99% sure you would have had some fantastic offers over the years. Mm-hmm. Perhaps me less so, but in terms of why you've stayed at Veolia for 21 years, now obviously you're at the top of the tree. But why did you stay as you were building your career?
No, and you're right. In the various offers I was given, I was not already like the chief exec of the company. And each time I've said no to these offers, it was pretty much always for the same reasons. One is I just genuinely love this company, the teams, the project, the ambition. And it was about people as well. There is a kind of, very engaged series of people. And there is an element of being together into that. The second thing is a great balance between an ability to act and do and level of freedom to do and actually an ability that it can make a difference. So that's what I'm trying to keep in the organization. So a lot of the managers can feel it's kind of their own making to do whatever, with the business they're in charge of. Of course, there is a series of rules and a big agenda, but it's down to them in the end. And, this level of ability to act yourself and make a difference yourself was always what made me stay in Veolia.
Look, there's a lot of executives at different levels watching this, and they're working at those companies that they're in their silo and they've got their KPIs and they don't have that autonomy.
Of course, don't misunderstand me. You have lots of KPIs in Veolia, but the idea is
ownership.
This is yours. Those are the rules. Within those rules and within this strategy, you make it your own.
Was that something that you inherited from others and then you've tweaked into your own style?
I think it's very much embedded into the organization from a very, very,
it sounds like a new idea rather than something that's been around for 20 years.
No, and I guess, that this is always to strike the right balance. It's decentralized and as well as steered. Of course, the two have to go, and you have to work on the two legs. We're a listed company. Of course, we have a lot of, constraints which go with that and opportunities as well, which goes with that. But to ensure that at the I guess, granular level, every single manager feels like, you know what, the rules are clear, the ambition is clear, now it's on me. I think this is important. And it's more a daily fight to keep it this way against, all type of overruling things and dispersing decision in too many different places.
If you become a CEO, you love making decisions. There is no doubt about it. You like being the one to make those bold and brave and big decisions at the end of the day. But what's the style before you make that decision? Do you listen to everyone and say, right, I will make this decision now? Or actually, how do you get to those big decisions as well? What's your style? What are your colleagues going to tell me about Estelle's style and how she makes decisions?
So a few things. As long as you're not trying to make only good decisions, I think it's not that difficult to make decisions at all. I started, my first job actually was building highways in the outskirts of Paris. The idea is to move fast and to get the most of your decision being the right one, but to accept that at times there will be wrong decision, but you have to correct them quickly. I think as long as you have this, as opposed to be paralyzed by, I have to have all the analysis of everything in mind before I move on. And maybe this has shaped the way I decide, I must say. So the idea is, again, to get most of them right, but as well to realize that, of course, you make wrong decisions, but you have to correct them as well. So in terms of how do I make decisions, probably it starts with vision, really, and gut feel. So it starts, I think, with me. And then I'm trying to test, as in how does it ring? What does bring to life when I tell you this? And then you can, tweak a little bit, correct a little bit, or confirm, and at times console. But I guess it starts with yourself at one point.
And I wanted to ask you about that, because my managers over the years, and my colleagues are watching, so my managers over the years said, feedback, Stephen. You need to be better at taking feedback. And when there's something that perhaps you don't like, perhaps you need to express it in a different way or whatever. So I when I make mistakes, I think I'm better now, but I haven't always been brilliant at taking the feedback. I've made mistakes. What about you when you make mistakes? Can you think of any of the big mistakes, the big executive decisions you've got wrong over the years? Can you think of anything in particular?
Oh, yes, I could think of one and I could mention it. In terms of feedback, that's interesting. I genuinely think I'm open to Estelle, you've done this wrong. I don't feel like, we're heading in the right direction there. The question is not if you are ready only to accept, to be hearing that and to take it on board, but if people know that you're ready to accept. So there, at times there is a little bit of people would think I wouldn't be ready to accept this type of criticism where I genuinely am.
As well here,
I'm genuinely am. So people who know me better know that it's quite the opposite. I love debating. I love
Well, I've seen that from your LinkedIn post. You wanted to debate with everybody.
Not so sure about that. What do you make of it? And Estelle, what about this? Okay, right, let's have a look. But people who know me a little bit less, at times wouldn't dare, and they should. For instance, a bad decision I made, I won't put names into it, was to appoint somebody who was ticking almost all the boxes of the job I appointed him to do, but didn't have the fire in the belly. And my brain overcame, in a way, my guts on that one. I said, okay, but the guy has everything it takes, should be all right. My gut feel was telling me, not so sure. I should have trusted my gut feel on that one, which doesn't mean that gut feel is everything. But, there is an element of ticking boxes or rational is not always the way to make the right decisions.
Is the personnel side of things up there with the hardest parts of doing your job? The fact that so many people are parts of the organisation and getting them all to move in the right direction with that fire in their belly. Is the personnel side where the hardest decisions are sometimes?
That's a good point. I guess, it's being the leader of such a large organisation. We have 220,000 employees across the globe, and 80% of them are blue-collar workers. My role is to get get the direction clear for everybody. So clarity, to set the rules clearly, and hopefully to inspire them to move and to have the fire in the belly, or to reignite the fire in the belly. So that's the role. But I think my role is as well to reduce uncertainty, to be able to trust your boss to genuinely doing the right thing for the company and for the ensemble of the group, not only, for just a few, but for everybody in the group, is something which is of paramount importance for me, that they can trust we are heading in the right direction. Back to a question earlier on, you said, am I just, analyzing everything to make decision or listening to everybody? A good example of what I said was one of the first decision, bold one, I made as a chief exec was to launch the Veolia Cares program, which is a safety net, social safety net for everybody across the globe, whatever the legislation. So when you're an employee of Veolia, you at least have the right for X weeks of maternity leave, paternity leave, a health insurance, and so on and so forth when they're volunteering. And it made a huge difference for even, say, in the US, for our employees, where they don't have all that by the law. Did I ask anyone? No, I thought it was the right thing to do. That was starting in my gut. I had the ability to do it. So instead of complaining that the word is in difficult word, can I do something about it? Yes. So let's do it. That was exactly the authority in my mindset.
And it creates a reason for people to want to go to work at Veolia rather than somewhere else.
I think what they can see is some consistency from the top down as well. I'm not perfect at all. But I truly believe in what I do, including with the mistakes I make, and I hope they can feel that.
But you want in Veolia Cares to make your employees' lives as flexible as possible with their private lives as well, their family lives as well, and I applaud that. But is there an element of you that says and does this for your employees, but not for yourself, and you work too hard maybe as well? And the only reason I ask this is because I've got a couple of quotes, and I think Antoine Frérot is one of them as well. And she was, this is during the Suez takeover as well. She was a formidable adversary and a steely operator, determination in discussions. That goes without saying. Worked around the clock.
I work very hard.
Do you work too hard around the clock rather than, because for your employees, you want them to have a balance. But for you? Because it's a big decision you have to make every day.
No, that's very true. Yes, I work hard. So, for instance, I travel a lot. And each time it's the same kind of, paradox, which is it takes a toll on you, you're tired, you're on planes and so on and so forth. But at the same time, it gives some energy back to me, genuinely. I take energy from meeting people, from going to site, to meeting customers and stakeholders, really. I take ideas. So the curiosity in me is fueled back, if you want.
I get the energy when I talk to people. I talk for a living. My team knows this. I talk too much for a living. But I love engaging with people. I hated COVID. I was on Zoom calls with people. I couldn't look at their eyes and just talk to them. And so you draw that energy from meeting people.
Totally. To people and interaction and be surprised and discovering new things. That's absolutely true. That's why I said, I wouldn't be a natural physicist exactly for that reason. That's exactly what I tried to explain earlier on. So that's right. And in terms of the way I manage my time, it's fair to say that I have only times for 2 things or 2.5 things, Veolia and my close family. Not much else. And the half will be a bit of reading, a bit going to theaters and swimming. Apart from that, not much, I'm afraid.
Well, I mean, I know you're very active. In fact, because of your activity, once I saw you very injured. I think we were in the Middle East as well. But that's a decision as well, isn't it? How you balance your life, and it's one that I juggle with, and I'm pretty sure that both of us put our families first as well, and our careers are important to us, but thereafter. That is a very difficult decision, dare I say it, still for a woman, for a CEO who's so busy as well, and to be an active and brilliant mother and partner as well. It's tough.
I don't know if I'm a brilliant mother or partner. I hope I'm not too bad,
Well,
but I think I care about it.
And I know your daughter has just followed in the footsteps of her mother, her grandmother, and her great-grandmother.
No, she will do much better than I do. She will follow her own path, and that's exactly the only thing I hope for her.
But that's just stunningly successful. Look, I hope I'm not divulging anything here, but your daughter has done incredibly well and has got herself into a great university as well. That's just so exciting. It feels like you're doing a good job there as well as a good job at work.
I guess when you are a mother, and I'm pretty certain it's the same when you are a father. By the way, would you ask the same question to a man? I'm teasing you back.
That's a good question.
That's an important one. But joking apart. Of course, I work hard. I don't see them as often as I would like to. But when I'm back home, expressing with all my enthusiasm about what I do at Veolia, the fact that it could be great fulfillment to be working, that you can make a difference. And so in a way, that's not I'm sacrificing you to do that. I just enjoy it. And that's what I felt from the start.
Can I ask you a bit about my question? Are you frustrated when me, as a man, as an interviewer, asks you, as a woman, as a CEO, about balancing life? When you hope that I ask the same question to a man, but you think I'm asking it because you're a woman?
I'm not frustrated because I'm used to it. But
do you think it's lazy sexism, that kind of question?
No, I don't think it was a sexist question. But I think, this is a question you may want to ask in the next interview. You ask a male CEO. Really?
Yeah.
I genuinely think that. And I think it will free the male CEO in a way so that, progressively you accept the fact that the balance with your family is a question for everyone, male or female. It's a service I'm trying to give back to my male colleagues.
And we all gratefully accept it. But it is a question I've asked a lot of them because I think, there is no doubt about it. For a lot of the men I've known over the years as well, they work, they don't see enough of their family. And I think they get the balance wrong, actually. I really do. I think so many, and I can't say that I've seen that so much with the female guests I've interviewed. I don't know. Tell me about Veolia now. And I talked about your career as an engineer and infrastructure and water and waste, but the great ecological transition as well. Are you proud of what's going on at Veolia and in the world now, or are you concerned that it's not moving quickly enough?
I'm proud about Veolia. I'm very hopeful about what the population across the globe, is asking for. I'm a little bit less hopeful about the political sphere so far. But we'll see how it goes in the next few years. So if I elaborate on that, there is a big environmental backlash everywhere in the world, as in the political sphere, nobody talks anymore really about it. Lots of reasons for that. But when you ask real people, or real industrial customers, or real city mayors, they are very often very concrete and absolutely key to have us discussing about how to protect the health, how to ensure security of supply chain, how to ensure that there will be security of supply of water, even in case of drought. And all that is offering environmental security. So I think, the mega trends are still very powerful for a business like Veolia's to grow. But it's not driven by political agendas. It's driven by, the bottom up, if you want, of the needs of the populations. And environmental security is something very powerful, in my opinion.
But does it worry you that these big decisions are not being made or being made along political lines rather than the ecological and environmental, and dare I say it, the business sense of actually being greener? There is a business sense behind it. It isn't just about doing the right thing.
No, you're exactly right. Veolia is not an NGO. Veolia is a business, of course, a listed company, which happens to have solutions for environmental services to ensure that our customers are not only greener, but they secure their supply chain, they answer the health, and so on and so forth. So in a way, I'm not talking about, green agenda here. I'm talking about very concrete needs everywhere in the world which happens to go alongside decarbonization, depollution, and regeneration of resource, but as a solution to real problems we face today. The idea is not to save the planet. The planet will survive. The question is the human being on it, the industries. How do we ensure that we still have prosperity on this planet? It's not the planet itself that we're here to save. So again, securing supply chain, securing the trade, securing the jobs associated with it, securing the health of people living in it. That's exactly what's at stake. And I think, if you put this human being at the center, it's a completely different story from it will be a very theoretical, something abstract, which looks very far away from home. No, we're talking about communities in every single country.
But it feels abstract to so many people you speak to in the street because they can't necessarily see in their daily lives the problems that are going on in the environment. And yet, when I speak to commissioners at the European Commission, I speak to Enrico Letta, I speak to others, the plan is great. But we're not just enacting the plan because it's fallen down the pecking order. Now we're worried about our security, which we should be worried about. We're worried about the tariff war, which we should be worried about. But is there a decision being made at a very executive level in Europe that just can't handle worrying about the environment and pushing ahead with environmental initiatives as quickly as they should do because they're making decisions about other things?
I would disagree with what's implied in your question, which is like you have various priorities and you have to pick between one and the other, and maybe environment will be a bit down the line compared to, say, security or others. Because, you have very adjacent agenda and they are cumulative. Let me give you an example. When we recycle or when we do produce energy from non-recyclable waste, we produce local resource. So it's a way to avoid importing fossil fuel. So it's a way to enhance strategic autonomy of your country to be able to produce locally those type of resources. And it goes alongside with the CO2 footprint and so on and so forth. So you're securing supply chain as opposed to be dependent. So there is a geopolitical agenda to enhancing recycling. If you are talking about, water supply, they are starting to have water wars. When you think about it, war for a drop of water. Is it going to be the farmers? Is it going to be the big micro plant which going to get access to the water? Is it going to be the town nearby? And you start to have tension. So in a way, this agenda of environmental security goes alongside the more global agenda of the world as we see it today. So they're not antagonists. A lot of people are usually asking me, okay, if you had a magic wand, environmentally speaking, what would the new legislation you would put in place? And my answer would be nothing more than what we've got in the vast majority of the countries we operate. But please focus on the delivery of those legislations. And I guess the political word now, we don't need a different legislation. We have the global framework, and we should keep it, by the way. But focus time on delivering projects and building, as opposed to just another big idea. But this is maybe the executive in me talking to politicians. Maybe.
And that is the big difference, even though there's such a large overlap in French echelons at the top as well. I've only got a couple of minutes more of your time, so let me just ask some quick fire questions. What is the best decision you've ever made?
I think the best decision we've contributed to made was to acquire Suez. That was a few years ago, a great move, a bold one, and made Veolia very, very strong.
What is the hardest decision you ever made?
Probably when real life of people are involved, which is not only mine or that of my family. So closing a site would be one, for instance. At times you have to, or selling a business which has been in the company for years.
We've both been at the same companies, different companies, for over 20 years. Can you see a time when you make a decision to leave Veolia and pursue a different career, maybe in politics?
Oh, in politics, I would be very, very bad at it. I'm sure about that.
Why?
I think what Veolia has is not like any other company, is because of its mission, ecological transformation, and the fact that it's very close to the political world in the very pure sense of it, as in the daily life of people. And you can make a difference, but by running a business.
Yeah. And do you love your job?
I do love it.
What do you love most about it?
The discovery of, again, new people, new themes, the diversity of it. I went in the same month from Morocco to see Gavin Newsom in California, and then to a little town in France. I love that.
Yeah. And final question. The world is moving very swiftly technologically as well. You can't move for having an interview without the letters AI coming into it as well. Is the technological advances we're seeing now, is it going to change, do you think, how you and your company make decisions going forward?
I wouldn't give any decision making to AI.
Does it worry you?
I'm using AI because I think, there is no other option anyway. So I'd rather people like us are using it rather than, like in various different values and different mindsets. This is the way I would see it. And it enhances our performance already now. We've launched a Veolia Secure GPT very early on, almost 2 years ago. There are, I think, last time I had a look, 50,000 prompts a day, from blue-collar workers up to managers. So I think it makes us more efficient to our customers and to the population we serve. So it could be a force for good. Could be.
Estelle, thank you very much.
Thank you.
This, for me, was without doubt one of my favourite interviews in this executive decision series. I was challenging Estelle. Estelle was challenging me, especially on our conversation about work-life balance. Was I actually asking the question in a certain way? Because she's a female CEO, it really made me question mine and our perceptions in society. But she's a brilliant woman. She's an engineer, and she goes about her role as CEO with an engineer's attention to detail, but also she's an incredible human being who understands the importance of giving her employees a good balance in their lives as well. Thank you very much indeed for joining me on Executive Decisions. I'd love to hear your feedback. Drop your thoughts into the comments or a review. And please hit that follow or subscribe button. You won't want to miss the next episode of the podcast dropping on Tuesday, where I speak to Hugh Brasher.
Look to really where you want to go. Look to the person you want to be. Start reading the right books. Start connecting with the right people. You will end up in that place if you keep looking at it.
I'm looking forward to it. We'll see you then.